Yeah, hi, folks. Uh, thought I'd take a minute to talk about synchronicities. Um, they happen for me every day also. Give an example. Thursday, my mother messages me, texts me, and she updating me about her husband, my stepfather's condition. He happens to be in hospital, and she says, what was it? Good news. He's getting better. Okay? But instead of saying good news, she says God news. Alright? And then a day later, I get an email from my father, and he says, he's supposed to say good luck for something, but he says God luck. And for myself, there's been a lot of contemplation for myself this past few days on it's not an idea, on the reality of God, let's say. So I mean, the timing is just, and like, I can't remember or paid enough significance to the last time somebody was supposed to said the word good and said the word God. Okay, so, and the one is on email and the other one is from a smartphone. Okay, so email, like, it doesn't correct your spelling or something, fill it in while you say G-O, it'll say God, it's G-O, something like that. On the smartphone maybe, but that doesn't matter. The fact that it was days apart, and the fact that it was my mother and my father, that relationship, like, I mean, you could even read into that further, that the idea of God, one manifests, or it has an idea, not manifests, of God through their parents, through their Alpha Omega. And so, I mean, that was just an example, but synchronicities happened for me every couple of days or so, and they're very bizarre in the nature that, like, I'll be thinking on something, and somebody, let's say, will walk past me, let's say here where I'm sitting in my room here, and I'll be thinking on the word, let's just say soccer field, let's just say, and somebody will walk past the door, and while they speak on the phone at the exact same time will say soccer field. And I noticed that, and it's like, okay, well, there are chances, there's always chances, but I mean, my point being, okay, because I could tell you so many synchronicities. I could tell you the other day I was in a restaurant type of thing, and there was a guy that I really wanted to meet and talk to. I just really thought he looked absolutely cool and whatever it was, and I went to the toilet, and I thought on my way back I'll bump into him and I'll start chatting. And when I came out the bathroom, he had gone home, he had disappeared, and I thought, like, damn it, I really felt, and I went home and I was so frustrated about that in the evening. And only to the next day, go to another restaurant to pick up some bread, well, it's sort of a bakery, to pick up some bread, and the guy was there, alright. I did sort of talk to him, but I realized that he wasn't my type of guy, whatever it was, but the idea was that I went home and I was so frustrated. When I went back to the bakery, like I'm saying, there this guy was. And I've never seen this guy before, and the chances of it is, I mean, well, there's no chances of it. Like I say, there is a chance, but it's so random. It is so random that it's just... Okay, so what's the message behind it? Well, each synchronicity comes with all different messages. Sometimes it's hard to read or make out what the message is. A lot of the time I don't necessarily know. Sometimes I do know, just like you folks out there know. But the magic is that it can happen instantaneously. That's what's bizarre about it. Because sometimes you think like a synchronicity was like, oh, I was thinking about a friend, and then that I haven't seen in 5 years, and then only later on that day you might see that friend. But a synchronicity can be that you're thinking about that friend while you're sitting in the library, and you haven't seen that friend for 5 years, and then they walk in. There could also be some premonition as well, but something like that example where it happens simultaneous to your thinking or to your experience. I do metal detecting on the beach, and I can tell you 9 out of 10 times, this is strange folks, 9 out of 10 times that I'm feeling sorry for myself, like I'm not finding anything, and everybody else on Facebook groups here in South Africa are like posting all their finds, and it's like, amazing, and for myself I'm just so frustrated, and I say, well, Aaron, you're not good at anything, and the ego voice will come in, the critic voice will come in. And yesterday, as I was thinking that, I slipped off the rock that I was standing on, and I managed to break my fall. But I mean, with this heavy scoop, to scoop out from the sand, and my metal detector, that happened. And then also there was something else where I was thinking as well, like, everybody else just comes here into the beach, and as I did that, I stepped on a tent peg, and it hit my foot, and it didn't pierce, but it, so I mean, that's like, okay, so that's a whole nother level as well. But in a way, like, the message that I took from there was like, be careful of feeling sorry for yourself, like unnecessarily, type of thing. And because I know that it's a habit, and I know that it's a pattern, and I know that it's a tendency of mine. I actually want to talk about tendencies, that how we don't actually know that so many tendencies that we have that are actually self-destructive and very, very self-harming, and we don't actually realize it. And it's something else really, but it's so hard to break that tendency. It's like you become friends with that tendency of self-abuse or self-denial or self-neglect or self-destruction, whatever, self-sabotage, whatever it may be, self-ridicule in your own mind, bashing, whatever it is. And it's it's a tendency, and so it's hard to break tendencies. It's hard to break any kind of patterns, but it's also harder to break sometimes, which is even a bit more terrible, harmful patterns, self-destructive tendencies. Very hard to break. Anyway, so for myself, when I am feeling that, then what miraculously does happen some of the time is that an incident will occur, whereby I'll get a fright, I'll get a shock. This just came to my mind now, folks. This was very heavy. I was working, this is many years ago, it must have been 7 years ago or something like that, and I was in a very dead-end job. I wasn't in a very good place in my life whatsoever, from so many factors, and I would often feel like, maybe from watching movies or something like that, and have the image of myself taking a gun and like, shooting my head off type of thing. Not literally, but just that's the feeling that I had. Okay, I know this is a bit whatever it is. Like there's a movie, sometimes in movies where you see the guy's like in a situation, he's so frustrated and he looks to his friend and he goes like, like, I'll shoot my head off type of thing, like I can, commit suicide because it's just so whatever. And for myself, I used to find myself doing that pretty often, like especially driving in the car, okay, on the way to work, and I would be like, blow my head off or something like that, and I kept on this feeling. I want to be accurate with this, but I had a feeling in myself that life was just unfair. I felt very victimized, and I felt the doom of something looming in the future. And when it happened afterwards, many months afterwards, I also felt like I brought it on for myself. And what was that? It was a car accident, okay? And it wasn't too bad. The car was almost written off, but it was amazing. As it was happening, I was on the phone to somebody. I wasn't holding the phone. I had on my loudspeaker, and I said, hold on, I'm busy having an accident. It was almost like I've been anticipating this for days. But what my point was that, like, I almost felt that I brought this towards me because of my own self-pity. But the accident didn't help either, because I cut up my hand quite badly. I needed to go to the hospital and stitch up. And I was really feeling, I mentioned this before, the story, and I've actually still got one of the scars on my hand over here. And when the doctor was stitching it up, he says, because I kept saying, like, why? And it's funny enough, it turned out to look like a question mark. It's just missing the little dot. You probably can't see it, but it's missing the little dot here at the bottom. Anyways, after I looked at that, I felt that there was a part of it that brought that upon myself. Okay, I can't say that for sure. I can't say that for sure, but every time after that, I thought about putting a gun to my, like the fake gun to my whatever it is, like that cool sort of pose, type of thing. That which is ridiculous, cool type of pose, isn't it? But I mean, there's movies where you see, like Pulp Fiction guy Quentin Tarantino. I remember holding a gun to his head, type of thing, or even rappers holding guns to their head. It's so cool, that self-destruction, whatever it is. Anyway, that's my point. Is that, so I don't know how I even got onto this, but I felt like I did. I brought that into my life. I did bring it into my life. And so my point being here is that moving from synchronicities to tendencies is that the universe doesn't want you to keep on harming yourself, okay, whether it's in thought or action, okay. And I find that what it does, it can at times, especially, I don't know, I mean, this could be a thumbsuck, but it's just what I feel sometimes. It's just like, it'll shock you at that time. It'll give you some kind of little spank, if you will, somehow or another. You'll miss that last step at the bottom of the staircase, because when you're thinking that thought. See, again, it's instantaneous. It's instantaneous. Which is also another factor, quite supernatural as well. So it's instantaneous and it's instant at times, and just look out for it. It's not always the time, and not to be neurotic about it. Like every time you miss the last step of the whatever it is, or the cell phone, your battery goes dead, or you're trying to pour out the ketchup and there's nothing left, or that there's just nothing left, or the milk is sour. Or, I'm not talking about something like that, but it's simultaneous, and you can feel it and you know it, and that's also like a synchronicity. Yes, there's potential chances of it, but you know it. This is a message for you, for that time, for that place, and where you're at. That's a message for you. Again, we don't always know the messages. Sometimes it can even just be a friendly message, right? It can just be a butterfly, I don't know, landing on the word butterfly as you wrote it, okay? It's just saying something beautiful. I think, the Most High, God, the universe, talks to us in all different forms and fashions, and sometimes it's in tough love messages, and sometimes it's just loving messages. So that's just interesting. So important is because at least we try and interpret our day, events that are happening in our day, more so, again, for there to be a purpose behind it, and not just a randomness of things. You can't understand all of it. You can't understand stuck in traffic. You can't understand, losing your cell phone. Sometimes you can. Sometimes there's so many things in life you just can't understand. And there's the part of the time where you surrender and let it go, and it's just part of life. But there are times when you really feel, intuitively, that this is for you. This is for you. I don't know, it can happen. You're feeling, this often happens. I'm feeling a certain way, and very angry or very restless or very whatever, and I'll go on YouTube, and one of the videos that I've downloaded from YouTube, because I download my videos from YouTube, it's a long story, and I'll listen to that, and the person's talking to me. It's like exactly at that time and space. Okay, granted, I don't think of all the other times where people are just rambling on, and it's not really, I'm saying they could be speaking. No, but you see, we can get too logical. No, you know it, you feel it, and it's almost like the universe is spying on you. It's like, again, I don't know how much time. Okay, it's like, sometimes when let's say you're looking for an antivirus, or you're looking for for your computer, and then on Google, and then you go on YouTube and it starts advertising to you antiviruses, or you're looking at, let's say, a pair of sunglasses on Take-A-Lot or something like that, or on eBay, I don't know, one of these places, whatever it is, and then you go on YouTube, or you go on your Yahoo or your Gmail or something, and it's advertising. It's like you feel that you're being spied on, right, in a way. It's like, why are you looking at my interests and then giving them back to me? And we know this is algorithms, this is the marketing that goes on. Facebook is massively guilty of this as well, we know that. and whatever it is. But so the thing is that the universe is like always spying on us. It's far out, folks. Even now, spying on us. It's not like God is watching us from a distance. You know, they're like that old song. It's like not like that at all. Which is like the biggest freak out for, I think, most religious folk who even believe in a deity at all. It's like not a distance. It's not a distance. It's right here, right now, in this very moment. And it's not just in the moment when you're in temple or you're in synagogue or you're in the ashram or something like that. It's always there. You know, the spying, let's say, you know, the watching, the observing, if you will, this from the unseen, and it's always there. And we have no idea of the magnitude of its power and how magical it can be, and how it can tie things into your existence synchronistically in a way that, from a human point of view, you cannot fathom or possibly understand. It will absolutely blow your mind. And folks, you know out there how the synchronicities have absolutely blown your mind. Okay? Like you just try and say, well, what are the chances? You know, this is just a general tendency. What are the chances? And it's like, don't even bother thinking about it, because it's impossible. It's absolutely impossible to work it out. And so that's it. You know, the universe, God, the goddess, the Alpha Omega, the Most High, the angels, whatever you want to, I don't know, Gaia, the supernatural, whatever it is, unseen forces, observing all the time, hey? Throughout our day, when we're sitting and paying our taxes, when we're sitting and waiting in the line at the bank, when we're having to sit waiting for our haircut at the barber, and he's playing some sort of MTV music videos where the woman is shaking her booty and the guy's throwing dollar bills at her or something like that. All these moments, you know, in all our highs and all our lows, all these moments, you know, we're never alone. Never alone. Not even in our dreams. Maybe we think our dreams are so personal to us, but we don't know. And that idea is, if by Alan Watts, and by also a lot of the Indian or Eastern thinking, is that we are God. We are just the eyes of God and the ears, you know. So God is everywhere, and God is us in that way, and sees everything and hears everything. And again, maybe not from an objective point of view, but also from an internal point of view, like what it's like for Aaron to be Aaron, and what it's like for God to be Aaron, in a way. For Aaron to be Aaron from other perspective, if you will, from a separate perspective. We don't understand these ideas of separation. Okay, we don't understand them, so let's not even go there. Folks, I'll end off on that for now. We'll chat soon, and take care.